This week, sedition has literally gone on trial, with the most serious criminal trial yet arising out of the 1/6 Capitol riots. Oath Keepers leader Stewart Rhodes and 4 co-defendants on trial for seditious conspiracy. Federal prosecutors unveiling new evidence, including audio tapes and text messages that they allege proves the insurrection was a conspiracy. Prosecutors playing audio they obtained of Rhodes after the riot, saying his only regret is that they should have brought rifles. And releasing texts that show that they were planning to show up prepared to fight. Rhodes texting a group chat in November saying, quote, Trump has one last chance right now to stand, but he will need us and our rifles, too. Another militia member sending a text on election night saying, I'm going to go on a killing spree. Prosecutors using this mob-like chart to keep track of all the Oath Keepers players involved. You see Stewart Rhodes there in the top right. And audio published by NBC's Ryan Riley, revealing that Rhodes was even thinking about legal cover while plotting.
We're going to have a QRF on QRF, but that QRF will be awaiting the president's orders. Okay, that's our official position. And the reason why we have to do it that way is because that is your legal cover. It's going to be a fight, but let's do it smart, and let's do it while President Trump is still commander-in-chief.
Joining me now is Hugo Lowell, congressional reporter for The Guardian, and NYU law professor Melissa Murray. My thanks to both of you. Melissa, let's start with you. You know, all of this evidence showing planning and the premeditation to commit violence on 1/6 has to be very bad news for the defense, right?
It is pretty problematic. A big part of the whole question around conspiracy is whether or not you had the state of mind to actually commit a crime in conjunction with other individuals and then actually acted in furtherance of that crime. So again, Stewart Rhodes will likely say that he didn't have the mindset to commit sedition, that instead he thought he was acting pursuant to the Insurrection Act, which would make his actions lawful. But it seems pretty damning here that they knew the Insurrection Act might not cover them, and they were only using it as a means of legal cover, which suggests that they knew deep down that this was actually unlawful and improper.
Hugo, how does this particular trial compare to the others we've seen so far, considering Stewart Rhodes was the head of the Oath Keepers?
Yeah, look, it's really significant the way that the DOJ has been building up to this. I mean, this is the biggest trial for January 6th defendants to date. I mean, the seditious conspiracy charge has not been tried before. A lot of the other trials have been about obstructing a congressional proceeding, obstructing an official proceeding. The seditious conspiracy one is the really big charge on the table. And the way that the DOJ has gone about prosecuting this case, I think, is really remarkable. You know, you talked about how they were showing a map of the different Oath Keepers, because it is quite confusing and there are a lot of individuals, but then also playing tapes like the one that Ryan got, which said, you know, they were only using the Insurrection Act as legal cover. And that actually came immediately after defense counsel were like, well, actually, the mindset was not there because the Oath Keepers were waiting for an order from President Trump. In fact, it turned out that they were using it as a ruse the entire time.
Melissa, the government also presenting evidence of Oath Keepers and what appears to be tactical gear in front of the Capitol as early as November of 2020. So, Melissa, how will this help the government's conspiracy argument, especially in creating possibly a connection between these soldiers, these boots on the ground, and possible co-conspirators inside of the White House?
So one thing to understand about conspiracy is that it takes very little to actually involve individuals in what can be charged as a legal conspiracy. So it's simply having the state of mind to commit a crime and then taking some action and furtherance of it. And that action can actually be quite slight. So here you have this photograph of these individuals in tactical gear on the brink of the Capitol months before this was supposed to happen. It looks like planning. That can be a substantial step that can establish the fact of a conspiracy. And that's all it takes. And again, it could involve every single one of these individuals in the photograph in that conspiracy, which means that prosecutors now have a whole range of people that they can probe, that they can perhaps encourage to cooperate so that they get more and more information up and up and up the chain. And that's why conspiracy is such a damaging and really powerful charge for the prosecution to use.
Hugo, I'm going to exercise some personal privilege tonight. I'm going to deviate a little bit from the Oath Keepers and pivot, because I can't pass up the chance to have the two of you here and not talk about the latest in the Mar-a-Lago legal drama. Trump filing a petition. I said Trump again. Trump, didn't I? Trump filing a petition with the Supreme Court, asking it to basically give those 100 classified documents that were carved out to the special master for his review. What's your thoughts behind the strategy behind this move by Donald Trump?
Yeah, I actually checked in with some people close to the Trump legal team earlier today. And they say there was kind of two broad elements here. First of all, there was a PR element. And the PR element was, they just sued CNN for defamation, and they wanted to have this additional lawsuit, this additional appeal to the Supreme Court in order to have like a 1-2 punch, it was described to me. But there is also a more strategic element here, I'm told, and that is to do with the fact that if they can get these 100 documents marked as classified back in play with the special master, that could pave the way for the Trump legal team to extract these documents and to see what exactly DOJ has on Trump. Because up until now, the Trump's lawyers have already admitted this. They don't know what Trump, what documents were removed from Mar-a-Lago. They don't know what kind of charges may be coming down the line against Trump. And this, if the 100 documents are back in play and they can look at it, might inform them how this case moves forward. And I think that's really interesting.
Melissa, let's do the Socratic method here for a minute. I'm going to flip it on you. Usually you do this as the law professor. The DOJ has also filed a motion for expedited appeal before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which was granted. So now both sides have to file briefs on an expedited schedule. The DOJ is claiming, among other things, that Judge Aileen Cannon never had jurisdiction to hear Trump's special master motion in the first place. Assuming the 11th Circuit ultimately sides with the DOJ, does that moot out Trump's SCOTUS appeal?
Unclear. I mean, there's an interesting whole sort of playing out in terms of the timing of all of this, Katie. It's true that Justice Clarence Thomas, who is the circuit justice for the 11th Circuit, from whom Trump filed this emergency petition, and he's given the Department of Justice a week in order to file its response to this motion. But once that response is filed, the government, then the court doesn't actually have to do anything at that point. The court is not obligated to issue a decision in any kind of time frame. So they could actually wait to see how all of this plays out at the 11th Circuit and maybe wind up mooting themselves entirely and not having to say anything at all. So it really just could play out in a lot of different ways. Again, I think Hugo is right. A big part of the play here is to discover what is actually in that cache of classified documents. But I also think a big part of what's going on with the Trump team is that this is actually leaving more and more time on the clock and actually dragging this out. Judge Dearie wanted to be done with this by the end of October, and we're almost there at this point. And this is already going to push that out probably well into November.
Also incredible is the fact that Donald Trump doesn't know what documents he had with him that I think he packed in the boxes. Hugo Lowell and Melissa Murray, thank you both for being here. I appreciate you both for your insight.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber. Thanks for watching The Beat. I wanted to let you know I'm writing a foreword to the January 6th committee's full report, which is coming out soon from HarperCollins. You can go pre-order the book right now, and it'll come to you first when the report comes out in the fall or whenever the government releases it. Just search Melber Jan 6th on Amazon or your favorite independent book site and click pre-order. You'll be the first to get both the report and my new piece on the coup conspiracy. You can also go to melberbook.com and order it there.